Hey, welcome to Touch by Prayer. I'm so excited because today it is my first time using Restream. So we are going to see, I don't even know if anybody can see, if we're working, if we're up and running. I brought up Jeff Brain. So let me just see here. It's going to be one of those kinds of shows. It's going to be one of those kinds of shows, Jeff.
We'll learn it together.
Yeah, we're in this together. Seriously. Okay. I'm trying to kind of figure out. Oh, there I am. Okay, hold on. We're getting there. We're getting there. Okay. So this is going to be a very, very interesting. Where'd you go? Let's see if we can get you back up here. Okay. I'm having some. Oh, for some reason, I can't get you back up here. Let's see. Where'd you go? Well, let's see. We're doing a lot of that, but I can't seem to pull you up. Let's see. Okay. All right. Just bear with me. Bear with me because this is going to be one of those new experiences. And that's one of the things with Touch by Prayer. You guys get to experience some new things with me. All right. So I'm so excited because this is the first time I'm actually using Restream. We actually tried it with Daddy's Girl, but this is the first time that I'm actually doing it with a guest. So I'm trying to kind of figure out how the heck to get this up. But for those of you who don't know, I actually have, look at that. Come on. I have my own channel on CloutHub. Now, many of you might be saying, what is CloutHub? Like, what the heck? What is this new thing that so many people are jumping to? Well, that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. I actually have the founder and CEO, Jeff Brain, but I'm trying to figure out how to get him up here. So we're going to try that. Well, that's not working. Let's see if we can do, this might work. Let's see. We're going to try. No, I can't seem to get us to
side by side.
I'm trying. It won't let me do it. We're working on it. Let's see.
All right.
We're just going to have to do this until I can figure out how to do this because this is just.
You're more important to see anyway. So.
No. Okay. Yeah. So. Jeff, I'm just trying to, let me get you up here. All right, let's talk a little bit about CloutHub. Let's talk about what CloutHub is. Let's see if, okay, everybody can see and hear me. So we actually have people who are chatting. So yes, chat, ask questions because now is your chance to ask all the questions about CloutHub. So in this, social media craziness that we have, which it is kind of crazy, we've been trying to kind of figure out like how do we get our voices back, and that's exactly what you've been doing. I can't believe I'm like gone. Okay, we're gonna get this. This is gonna be one of those blooper reels, Jeff. It's going to be one of those blooper reels because I'm just trying to kind of figure it all out. Let's see. So I can't. Let's see. That's maximize. That's spotlight. We want to take you. Hallelujah. Okay, we figured it out.
We're good.
We are good. Okay, so this is the thing. There are so many different people who are really, really frustrated with everything that has been happening on social media. I know I'm frustrated. I know a bunch of my friends have kind of jumped on board the CloutHub train, and that's what I'm calling it because it is something so new, so fantastic because you are the only social media platform that has your own personal channels. Like that is huge. That is huge. Okay, so let's talk about CloutHub. Let's talk about your vision for CloutHub, and
Sure.
Let's talk about how CloutHub was, how the vision came to be.
Sure, happy to do that. Well, first of all, thanks for having me on your program, and look forward to sharing CloutHub with your audience. So, CloutHub is what I would consider a second generation social media platform. The existing social media platforms were all developed in the early 2000, 2002, 2004, 2005. That's the big ones, the Facebooks, the Twitter, the YouTubes. And, they've kind of lost their way, really. I mean, they started out with the best of intentions, but over time, they've become really intrusive into our privacy. They're tracking us. They're tracking us to the mall, seeing what stores we go to, and the next day we see the ad, in the social media platform for the, washer or dryer, whatever we were looking at, in the mall. But they've also become manipulative and big brotherish in that they're kind of controlling what we talk about. They're controlling the data we see, and they're silencing people, and that's not right. They're also unhealthy. There's a lot of studies that show how unhealthy social media platforms are designed. They're manipulating our brains, rewiring them, and affecting our attention span, our ability to learn, and causing people to, have issues with depression and by comparing each other to how many likes my friends got. It's really an issue of, most social media is look at me. I've got this many friends, I got this many followers. It's really antisocial in a way, in that it's really very self-centered. And so I felt there was an opportunity to create an alternative platform, one that actually is geared towards doing good for society. And so what we're doing is, first of all, we honor your privacy. We only require 3 things: your name, your email address, and a phone number. And that's only so we can 2-step verify you're a real person, but we'll never use that phone number for anything. But we don't data mine you. We don't track you. We don't even take the IP address you come in off of. We don't get into your phone. We're not looking at what other apps you're using. And any information beyond those 3 items that you give is completely voluntary on your part. It's not required. And then as far as speech goes, we honor free speech and your right to express yourselves as long as you're not attacking other individuals, calling them, racial slurs or stuff like that. You're okay. We distinguish behavior and speech. Behavior, doxing, bullying, stuff like that's not appropriate. Cancel culture, unacceptable. And then health, we used a neuroscientist consultant to design our platform to make it more healthy for people. And then of course we have an all-in-one experience where people can do everything they do on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube in one platform. And that's why we call it a second generation platform.
Okay, so there's a couple things I want to hit on. Number
Sure.
one, I love the fact that you are taking into consideration people and how they feel, because in this world of everybody, how many likes did you get? How many this did you get? It does put a pressure, and people who don't have a lot of likes or people who don't have a lot of shares can sometimes feel that their message isn't important. So I really love that about what you're doing is you're taking that there's emotion. You can say, I love this, or this makes me happy, or this makes me, sad, that there's an emotion that's attached to it, but there isn't that competitive nature that gets pulled out in some of the social networks.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we feel that in our platform, the focus is really on bringing people together and having them work together to start to solve problems, address the issues they care about. And so in doing that, we feel that that's a much better focus, number one. And secondly, everybody's voice counts the same. Some people, I might be a single guy and spend all my day on social media and I got 1,000 followers. You might be raising 4 children, working 2 jobs, and you're not spending your day on social media. You maybe have, 20 followers,
Right.
But yet we get into a discussion and you see it on Facebook, on Twitter all the time. Well, your voice doesn't matter. But in reality, it does matter. And that's why on CloutHub, we make it so everybody's voice is equal. So by that, I mean, I can see how many friends and followers I have. You can see how many friends and followers you have, but I can't see how many friends and followers you have. That's your business. That's not my business. And so it allows you to not have that sense of competition. Greg Harvey. Greg and I were talking a while back, and he goes, your platform is just so comfortable to use. And then I mentioned to him these subtle things that we did. And yeah, when you're on on CloutHub, you don't have this anxiousness of how many views, how many likes. Oh my gosh, I gotta work harder to get, compete and be, it's not that. It's about sharing ideas, working together, and moving society forward.
And I think that the fact that you're allowed to show emotion, because we are called to show emotion about how we feel about a post or a video, you're not taking that away. But you're also really encouraging people to continue to speak. You're really promoting people, that their voice, like you were saying, that every voice matters, every voice has a distinct sound. Like
Right.
it's I don't sound like Greg Harvey. Greg Harvey doesn't sound like Praying Medic, and Praying Medic doesn't sound like Dilly. Like, I'm just using those because I know that they all have channels, and Mary Grace, and I know that Julie Lavender, which is so fun because I just met these incredible people through going on Periscope, which is something that God told me to do that I really was kicking and screaming to go back to. But yet to have that ability to interact with them, and then to see where social media is taking us into, into no man's land. At least that's what they thought until God brought you along.
Oh,
I'm
thank
just
you.
going to say, you, Jeff, are an answer to prayer. You are such an answer to prayer.
Thank you. Yeah, very excited to be able to do, CloutHub and bring it to life, and have people like you and Praying Medic and Dilly and others on there. It's a real, it's been a great experience, and we're really looking to, even bigger things in the future. It's just getting started. We really haven't even publicly, announced it. We'll be actually September 28th. We're actually going to launch a national publicity campaign for CloutHub. And at that point, it'll start to grow, significantly. We feel we've been mostly working to get it right, get the mixture of tools right. We have more to come. We'll have a private hub we'll be adding where you can talk privately with your friends and family. Not everybody wants to stay in that public forum, and which is kind of like the town square, right? You go in there and you express your concerns and have the discussions, but you want to go and talk to your friends and family and share the birthday pictures and the things you did over the weekend, like Facebook used to be, right? But now it's so full of ads and promotions that those discussions have really been lost. And in CloutHub, in our private hub, you will have those discussions again privately with your friends. Nobody else will see them, and it'll be great. We'll also be adding a civic hub where you can interact with your legislators, where you can interact and access resources from your government, whether it's participating in city meetings or school board meetings, things like that. And then there'll be a community center where your local community events and organizations, whether it's the youth leagues or Chamber of Commerce or homeowner associations, will be active. And then there'll be election information, so you can get information about the different candidates and ballot measures and make informed decisions, even interact with it. You comment on it, have discussions with people about those ballot measures and candidates. And so we're really excited. And it really is, so the internet has transformed commerce, right? We use Amazon and other services to, do commerce and buy. It's also transformed relationships with, Facebook. You can find friends you haven't seen for 40 years or whatever. And it's transformed business networking, right, with LinkedIn, but it hasn't transformed or been used to transform that public process. So how do your listeners, when they have an issue in their community or with their school, interact and connect with other people about that issue in a constructive, productive way? And then, so we're changing the way people will interact on issues and connect with each other about it. And we'll give them tools, because let's say you were dealing with graffiti. You're not the first community to deal with graffiti. What did other communities do? So there'll be a library of solutions, and other people you can contact. So, so you can connect, but then you connect among yourselves in your community or your school. But also then, how do you interact with your decision makers, whether that's at a city level, state level, federal level? So we're working to transform that whole process, and in the process of doing that, giving back the power to the people, giving the people the ability to connect, to organize through the groups, to express themselves through the channels, through the video sharing, through the public forum. And we'll be creating additional tools that they can use to report issues, but then be able to, advocate, mobilize. That's what it's all about, is really putting power back to the people, giving them a way to organize. And when I started it, quite frankly, in 2018, I had no way of knowing that in 2020 we'd be locked in our homes and have governors and mayors who are all but overstepping their power, and we would need the ability to be sitting in our homes using a platform like CloutHub, to connect with each other and defend our rights and our freedoms.
Right. Well, there are a couple of things, because, when you're dealing with something new, there sometimes are some stuff that happens, and you're growing and you're expanding and you're changing, because if you really think about it, CloutHub is a baby. Like, it's just starting out in its infancy. And so you're expanding, and you're saying, okay, all right, we've grown out of these shoes. Now we need to put these shoes on. Okay, now it's going to start running. Now we need to go get sneakers. It's kind of like that same thing, that as it's growing, there are new things that you have to add to it. You also have to, fix some stuff, change some stuff, because, people are used. I think that's one of the things. A lot of people they're so ingrained into the old way of doing things that anything outside of that starts to feel uncomfortable. And they're like, I really don't like this, but yet, if you can start to embrace some of the new things, you might actually say, wait a second, I actually like this better. This is actually better. It's kind of like, you might have hot dogs all the time, but then you try filet mignon. You're like, dude, no more hot dogs for me. I'm going to the steak, Yeah. So that's kind of what I feel CloutHub is doing, because of the venue and the platform that you're able to give different influencers. And I think that really is a game changer, because now you don't have to go searching for people and saying, oh, I missed their such and such. Now you could just go to their channel, and it's kind of like on demand. You're like, oh, I missed yesterday's. Oh, here it is. Let me find Praying Medic, and I can go back and click on it, and I can watch it.
Yeah, sure. Well, you're exactly right. It'll take some time for people to get used to it, but we think in time, that people will like it. There's things we can do that you can't do on Facebook or Twitter, like, for instance, you use YouTube for your videos, and then your groups are in Facebook, right? So completely different platforms, not connected. But in CloutHub, we're able to connect your channel to your group if you have one, and vice versa. So people that are watching your channel can click a button, go right into your group to see a document or this or that. There's lots of stuff we can do that, because it's all in one platform, that as people get used to it, they'll see, wow, this is really empowering. We have a lot more ability to get things done. I mean, to be able to go into a newsroom in the same platform and share stories directly into the timeline, and soon you'll be able to share those stories into your groups. You'll be able to, put from the groups into the timeline, what your group is up to, and join us, and things like that. And by the way, your channels and your group contents are shareable outside of CloutHub. They don't have to belong to CloutHub to see it. So anybody that had a link to your channel right now doesn't have to belong to CloutHub to watch this. They could be clicking that link, and watching this show. And that's very important to us, that people do not have to belong to CloutHub to watch, see what you're doing in your group, or see what you're doing on your channel. We'd like them to belong. So as people get used to these modules being all in one platform, and the ease of going from video sharing to channels to groups to newsroom, and then eventually private hub, it'll be very, very powerful. We have worked very hard. We started this in September of 2018, and we have continually improved and improved and improved. We make an update just about every 2 weeks. to tinker and improve it as people give us their input. I can see some questions here, which we'll get into that.
Yeah, I know. I already did that. Yeah, I'm like, and I just posted, I said, make sure you ask more questions, because I really feel like this could be a really good Q&A and answer some people's questions, and maybe even like.
Absolutely. I'd love that. That's great. But in the tinkering, what we do is we also poll people, and we kind of constantly take their feedback. I personally read all the feedback we get on those polls, and then when we have team meetings, we go through it and make sure we address those issues. So all the issues that are brought up by people in those feedback are addressed. And we've gotten to a point where so they call it a customer service poll, where you're measuring their satisfaction, and we actually end up being about an 88% happy. We get about a 9% neutral and about a 3% unhappy, which is really quite good.
That is good.
So we'll continue to improve and improve. We have actually an update coming out this week that will make some simple little things much easier to do when, like you were saying before, you forgot your password. So a lot of people, we created it for send you a text message on your phone, right? But now we're finding people don't have cell phones. There's a fair enough. So actually you can put in your landline and you'll get a phone call giving you your code, things like that. So, we're making those little improvements based on feedback we've gotten,
I'm going to say this, that Zuckerberg never called me, just saying.
And it won't be me.
I know it won't be you. But
so,
go ahead.
Yeah, no. So we're very, this is a platform for all of you. We're creating it. We're very proud of what we're creating, but it is to serve all of you. I don't know why Mark Zuckerberg and Jack Dorsey are so committed almost to making our lives difficult, right?
I might be able to answer that. No, I'm just
but we're here to do the opposite. I mean,
right.
we don't make money on ads, so we're not going to suppress your reach.
Mm-hmm.
There will be no ads in the timelines, whether it's the public timeline, the group timeline, or the private timeline, never. There'll be a promotion room where you can go to and get discounts to local businesses and things like that. But there'll never be ads. So we're not data mining you. We don't need to do any of that nonsense. And we don't need to suppress your reach. Whatever your reach is, if you get to 1 million followers and you want to put out a post and 1 million people are going to see that, that's always going to be the case.
And that, one of the things that was super frustrating, and I really felt this for people who have built their platform, they built it. They posted things. They've been on, like Facebook and Twitter for years and years and years and years, building up this beautiful, base, and for it to be stolen, it's such a bullying thing. I mean, really, I was like really upset about it, because as much as it's theirs to take care of or manage, it still is our stuff. Like, to somebody who has like a really big following, to lose everything is heartbreaking. To lose all your videos.
Yeah, sure. So Bill Mitchell, who's on our platform, he's got a show on our platform and it's been active, and he complained about wearing masks, and he had 540,000 followers, and they took him off of Twitter for complaining about masks. Now I see some of the comments here, and I want.
Yes, I'm gonna actually pull some up.
I want to assure everybody that the thing is, we're still a small team. I think we've done really well in putting a lot of stuff in good quality in one platform, but we're still a small team. We don't have the budgets of a Facebook and a Twitter and YouTube. So unfortunately, we can't do everything right up front. And we also have to remember that Facebook wasn't today's Facebook when it first started. So some of the things you're looking for, like the iPad and stuff like that, we will get there. We'll work on it, so they can turn it to horizontal mode or landscape mode. But it just takes time to get everything done and get to those points. We'll add a delete. Everyone can delete their own account, but it just takes time to get to those points. We'll add a dark mode. But we wanted to give you the tools, the groups, the channels, the video sharing. And now what we typically do is go back and improve and improve and improve. So we'll continue to do that. And, and as more people discuss issues, like we address it. So I know, like on our desktop version, and, again, we got the desktop up because people really wanted that, but it wasn't complete. It's not, we could have waited until it was all complete, but we wanted to get it up and then we make improvements. So this week we'll be adding the forgot password to the desktop.
Thank you, Jesus, because seriously.
But because, so it'll all happen. It's just, we have to do it, unfortunately we have to do this, and then next week we do that, and then next week we do that, But eventually, as we continue to grow, we will be able to have more and more coders and be able to do more things at once for everybody.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
Because Facebook was really easy to find friends, because you would find people, oh, I'm friends with this one, but I'm not friends with this one. Where if you go to CloutHub, you can only see the people you have in common. So you can't see new friends.
Okay, so this is an issue that we're addressing. And I'll be very frank with you. We're bringing different cultures in, right? We're bringing YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook into one platform.
Yes.
And something we didn't anticipate, which we're dealing with right now, is the different cultures of what people are used to. So when we first started, a lot of the people came from Twitter, and Twitter's culture is to use a pseudonym. You don't use your real name, right? And so, in fact, when we formed groups, when we added groups, it was such that their real name was visible in groups. And we had people like really upset. How dare you show my real name in groups, right? Mm-hmm. And so we changed it to only be pseudonyms. But now we're getting a lot of people coming in from Facebook, because a lot of the Facebook groups are leaving and coming to CloutHub now that we have groups. And the people are coming over from Facebook, and that's a completely different culture. That is real name culture, right? We use our real names. That's how we find our friends from college. I can do a name search for somebody I haven't seen in many years, and that's them, and I'll connect with them. And so we're having to address that, and that is something we're going to change in CloutHub. We'll most likely, because Facebook's been very successful, and we will most likely, in the public forum area, allow you a setting that says, I want to use a pseudonym in that public town square, forum. But in the rest of the app, we'll probably use real name. And after all, if you're going to engage in politics or in community or civic issues, you probably do want to use your real name. And we'll probably move in that direction. So people, because that also makes it easier to find your friends when you use real names.
Right. And then sometimes, there are people that you don't know. You just don't know how to find them. You don't know, how am I going to find this person? So I wish there was something that like you could see it and then you could click on it and say, I don't know if that is.
Well, you can click on anybody's avatar.
You can. But,
if you click on their avatar, it pulls up their profile, and then you could see the posts that they've done. You can see their comments.
Okay.
You can see any videos they've posted. So you can kind of get a sense of who they are, if it's somebody you're interested in, and then also what issues you have in common with them.
Sure.
And then you can message them. Now, we're looking at ways to make it so that when new people come on, it's easy to introduce them to other new people. So even today, we had a discussion about when somebody first comes in, they automatically get it added to a new member group where they can meet other new members. Okay. And they can look. There'll be information about the platform, that they, resources and stuff like that. And but we're by the way, for your members that are watching, we're always open to ideas. So we don't always have the best ideas. So any of your members, can make suggestions. And there's one now. May I request?
Yeah, I'm about to do that. So, boy, there's a lot more. It's probably easier. Let's see if I can. Let's see. My one request is that CloutHub would have one board with all of the original content and a separate board for reposts, so we are able to get more information as opposed to seeing the same info over and over.
Yeah, I'd have to see how that would be implemented. So one board. So I assume by board they mean timeline.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes you'll see the same article. People
Right.
same article. They don't know that somebody posted it an hour earlier. So I'd have to, not opposed to that. I'd have to look at what that would take to implement and how that would play out. So.
Well, I think one of the interesting things about it is that you were kind of talking about these groups. I think that the groups is a really great way to get to meet people, because if you go into the group, then you could say, hey, I know you, you're with, I saw you on Twitter, I saw you on Facebook. So that's one of my things and that's when I spoke to you, Jeff. I said, all right, I'm actually going to start a prophetic group. Yeah. So that's one of the things. I couldn't do it before because I was so busy with getting ready for Daddy's Girl. But I'm actually going to start a prophetic group for people to learn and people to share and people to ask questions, because that's my heart. So, but it's a great way for people who are interested in more about God or hearing God or knowing the supernatural part of God. So that's a great way for you to kind of get connected. Because one of the things that I truly, truly loved about Facebook gave me my family. Mm. They gave me my family, some of my closest friends. I found them on Facebook. I mean, Dave. I got Dave on Facebook. I mean, that's like a gift in itself, just saying.
Yeah.
So those are some of the things is to meet people, because you don't know who you need in your life until you find them.
Right. Well, in groups is very important to us. So this is our first step into groups, right? Mm-hmm. Very basic. And again, the way we work is we get it up there and then we start to refine. And we have revisions we'll be making to these groups. But also what we'll be working on is different templates for groups. So if you were a nonprofit group, mm-hmm. you would choose a nonprofit template where you could put your committees, you could put your leadership, you could put your issues. You could actually even do billing for mm-hmm. The membership dues if you were a nonprofit group. And then if you were a celebrity, you would have a different template, right? Because your focus is on your events, your calendar of concerts or shows, and then your fans want to exchange images and videos and experiences, and get to know you. If you were a teaching person, you might want a teaching group where your students would have classes with a video and PDFs that they download, and you could watch the progress of their through there. And by the way, those that run groups will be able to eventually if they wanted to, like a teaching group, charge people. You got to pay to have access to my courses. They will have that, and you eventually on your channels even will have that ability. But there'll be different templates for groups because it's not one size fits all, and we want to meet everybody's different needs. In the channels, we'll have a next version coming out in about a week that will be a little bit more sophisticated. It'll be able to add your playlists and give you a little bit more flexibility on sharing specific videos out to the world. And then in the version that'll follow that, people will be able to favorite certain channels.
Oh, interesting.
And then there will be tabs where everyone will have a couple tabs when they go to channels, and one will be favorites. So all your favorite shows will be right there, listed, the ones you favorited. And then there'll be a live tab where all the shows that are currently live are listed. And then there'll be, of course, the all library, where everyone can search for different shows. But we'll just continually get more and more sophisticated for people.
Okay. Yeah. Well, and I think that, sophistication is a good thing. I mean, there's Darren who asked about sports groups for teams. So although this year probably isn't a good year to start it, maybe next year.
Well, we actually have the Fellowship for Christian Athletes coming to CloutHub.
Come on.
Yeah, they're going to create groups and they're going to have a channel. And so somebody's raised the point about only seeing the post from the people they want to follow. And so on CloutHub, what we did, since it's a new platform, we made it so when you first join, you see everybody and everybody's posts. That way you can meet new people on a new platform and make new friends. But in your settings, actually, you have the ability to choose at any time to see only those people you want to follow. Okay? So that's within your power and your control to control your experience. At any point, you could also go back. You could decide, okay, well, I'm not seeing enough. I want to go back and see everybody. It's a toggle switch, so you can turn it on and off. But you have that control, and that's another principle of CloutHub, is giving you control over your experience.
And Darren just said no for like coaches, parents, and players. And that would be so great. And that's the other thing too, is that CloutHub is a safe place for kids, because you do have artificial intelligence which goes through and it makes sure there's no pornography, that there's nothing that is questionable for young people. So it actually is a safe place. But can you also adjust your settings so that even you couldn't see like anything that would, I hate to say trigger you, but trigger you?
Well, it's hard. I suppose as we go forward, we can allow you to maybe choose topics you don't want to see. We could do that. Right now, though, CloutHub is not really for children, and not because it's not appropriate for children, but because we have a 16-year-old requirement. You know, that you're 16 years old. I have 5 children. There's a huge responsibility when you start to allow children onto platforms, and we want to be able to do that because it is, after all, civic and social issues, and we think they should become engaged. But when we allow children on the platform will be ready for that, and that means there'll be rooms for children that will be monitored by adults at all times to make sure that
it stays safe.
Well, that the interaction is appropriate and nobody is acting inappropriately. You know, that has to be monitored by a trained professional, and that's, you know, how we will make the platform available for children. But right now, that's not, we're not set for that.
Okay.
So we'll wait for that to be able to happen.
Okay. I also have that they want to know, so an iPad.
Oh, yeah, iPad. Okay.
Okay.
iPad. So iPad, it's just not optimized yet to go landscape. We actually, in a recent update, made it turn. Okay. So it does turn to the landscape mode, but it's not optimized. Every aspect within that window has to be reorganized automatically when you turn it, and that takes a lot of coding. So we're right now on an iPad, it works perfectly in portrait mode. Mm-hmm. It does not work in the app. It's the downloaded app does not work well in landscape mode. But here's what you do. On an iPad, if you go to your browser and use the browser version, it fits perfectly in the landscape mode. So that's what I would recommend. If you really want to, and I use an iPad. I got mine here. If you use an iPad and you want to be in landscape mode, use the web version. It'll work. And then we will do that. We will make it fit. So
okay. Well, I'm actually going to my CloutHub.
Okay, great.
And I'm just checking to see, and let's see. Guess what? I'm live. Hot diggity dog. Look at that. It's my first one. I in all seriousness, Jeff, I saved this for you. I wanted you to be my first live stream on CloutHub because I wanted to honor you for what you're doing.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Okay, so let's just talk about how this even came to be. What were you doing when you decided, hey, I think I'm going to start myself a new social network?
It's funny, you know, it's because if you were to ask me today to start a social network, I'm not so sure what my answer would be, but I'm glad I did it. I did it primarily because I was being shadow banned by Jack on Twitter, and I just felt that was completely unacceptable as an American.
Like Jack, just saying.
Yeah, you know, and so I had the ability to. So my background, just so you know, is I was a civic leader.
Oops, sorry.
I was a civic leader in Los Angeles for much of my adult life. I was the commissioner for the city of LA. I did a lot of big things to reform Los Angeles and revitalize parts of the city. And the LA Times even named me one of the top 10 civic leaders at one point in LA. So I have experience, bringing diverse people together, solving problems in communities, and trying to make life better for people. And I felt that when Jack silenced, my posts, I felt, well, I'm going to create a better platform. And I felt there was really an opportunity to create a platform, with the tools that I knew I needed when I was doing civic work, to allow other people to, influence issues that they care about. And that's what we're doing. I'm glad I did it. It is a lot more involved than I thought, haven't started it. But I'm glad I did it. I think right now, more than ever, it's necessary to have an alternative. When they first started censoring people, they went after Alex Jones, right? And they told us, well, Alex is extreme, he's wild, and we kind of didn't really object. And then they went after Laura Loomer, and well, Laura is kind of aggressive and, takes extreme measures, to get her story out, and we didn't object. And now you're seeing doctors standing in front of the Supreme Court talking about a medicine that could save our lives, and they're deleting those videos. In fact, if a doctor goes on YouTube or Facebook, or even a group, there was the Stand Up Michigan group that had 350,000 people in it that were opposed to the governor of Michigan overstepping her bounds, what they felt was overstepping her bounds in COVID with her emergency powers. That group got disbanded. How incredible is that in America? And so I'm glad I did it, because now we have CloutHub, and there's a place for people to be able to speak their mind. Even different groups that are, we have the Thin Blue Line, which is retired police officers, 2 million followers in Facebook being censored. So now they've come over to CloutHub, and we're happy to have them.
So let's talk about something fun. So Brendan Dilley came over to your show, came over to CloutHub and brought the Dilley show over to the Clout. What happened the first day that he came over is he tilted the Clout.
He did.
It was this influx of people from all over the place. And that's what I really would love to do, is just to bring this huge amount of people from all these incredible streams and just literally leave all the others behind in the dust, because that's truly what I'm believing. It's that as some of these people start to come in and they start to have their own channel. And I really think that's so appealing to these different people who are on Instagram, who are on Twitter, and all these other people. So we're just, because you're a believer, it's important, I believe, to pray into things and to declare things and to start to call things into order and call them into being, basically. So that's one of my prayers for CloutHub, is to, there's a scripture, and it says that the riches of the wicked are held up for the righteous. Well, how about the people why don't we move all those people and bring them into a place that's righteous, because there's freedom, that there's truth, and that there is our mouths are not being closed. We'll put it this way, Jeff, no mask here. How about that?
Right.
Right? There's no mask here.
Well, there's lots of problems with social media, and as I like to say, CloutHub solves them, right?
Yes.
The social media is fragmented. You use different things for different purposes. We're putting it all in one. It's unhealthy. It's rewiring our children's brains. As any parent should be concerned about what it's permanent. I mean, it's permanently rewiring their brain, so they cannot have an attention span. They cannot have, long-term thinking. It affects their self-esteem. It affects their relationships. They're manipulating your dopamine to keep you addicted to the platform and keep you coming back. We're not doing that. In fact, we tap into your uh, oxytocin and serotonin, which is what you get when you volunteer or you work out. So it's a healthy reaction because you're making a contribution to something more than just yourself. And when you tap into oxytocin and serotonin, you become more creative, you become more positive, and that's what so it's a completely different story. I mean, and then of course we've talked about free speech, we've talked about privacy. I mean, just because we join a social media platform doesn't mean we give up our right to privacy. Where does that come from? I mean, it's just ridiculous. So on our platform, your privacy is completely protected. It's never going to be shared, never going to be sold ever. I mean,
and monetized.
Never. So
okay.
Yeah, we don't have to data mine you. We don't have to do any of that because that's not our our model.
Well, and that's one of the things that's kind of like, I mean, if you've read George Orwell's 1984, I mean, in some ways, it was like Big Brother was watching you through Facebook, through Twitter, through all these social media platforms. Like they were literally watching you, which is like a little creepy. They're like that, I don't know. It just kind of creeps me out. So to have a place that's safe and to have a place that that you don't have to worry that your stuff, your pictures, like I've been pulling my pictures down, I've been pulling my blog posts down and saving it. So if, for some reason they say, yeah, we're getting rid of you, because I do share things and I have gotten my warnings, but I will tell you this, I get buried. And that's the other thing, is that they'll bury you. They'll just start burying you. And like you said, if you have 1 million followers, they'll just start taking away your followers because they don't want anybody to become that big. But that's not something that's going to happen here. It's really a place for you really to grow and to thrive.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. That's the environment we want, a healthy environment where we're here to help you achieve what you personally want to achieve. We're here to help Brendan achieve what Brendan wants to achieve. Everybody's got a different goal. Some people want to, the Thin Blue Line guys are trying to share, information about police officers, so we help them. And if we help all of you, do what you want to do, whether that's make sure your child's school is safe and they're getting taught a good education, or if we as a society decide masks are not the right thing, then we have the ability to say, hey, I need 200,000 of you to write to your Congress member now. And in CloutHub in the future, we have a tool, I think you've seen it, I showed you the slide at one point, where you'll be able to, with a push of a button, bring up all people that represent you from your school board all the way to the president and check the box of who you want to write to, write a little message, attach a document if you wanted, or take even a picture if it was a pothole, and send it off to your legislator. So it's not unreasonable for people in the future on CloutHub to say, hey, I need 500,000 of you to write to, Senator, Cruz this afternoon, right, and encourage him to pass this law. And that can happen, So there's Parler and there's other platforms, that have come up, but they're very narrow focused. And, so we like to say that, it's not enough to just post anymore, because that's really what you're doing there, right? You're posting, right, and then waiting to see how many likes you got. Okay.
Or actually echoes. I think they call them echoes.
Yeah, echoes.
I'm not a huge fan. I'm barely on there.
And I think it's good that they're creating, the more free speech platforms, the better.
Oh yeah.
I'm not trying to knock them. I'm just trying to tell the difference between us and them. The difference between us and them is on CloutHub, it's not about posting. We're creating an environment to do. We want people to do. We want you to take action, get results, solve problems, not just post. Those days are over. Twitter, Twitter's ultimately a failed platform. The only reason it's still alive is because of the president. But all the other platforms went to 1 billion or more users. Twitter has been stuck at 300 million users. It's a failed model. And it's because there's no socialization in it. Mm-hmm. You just can post and post and post. But really what people want to do on social media is connect, yeah, and socialize with their friends. And that's why it's so important to us that while we have all this other stuff that you can do, you ultimately have that private hub we're going to be adding where you can just go on there and talk to your friends.
Which is so nice. So basically what you're saying is that CloutHub is going to be the YouTube, the Facebook, the Twitter, and the Instagram.
All in one.
All in one.
Absolutely. There's no reason why you can't do that.
Right.
And that's what we're doing, making it, because right now you manage, think about it, you have to manage your passwords, you have to manage, for all of them, right? You have to go check them all. I mean, and if you want to post to them all, right, that's a pain. You have to use a Hootsuite or something like that, where you have to schedule this post to that post to that. And then what people don't realize is the exponential power of using them all in one. Like I said before, you could read a news article in our news aggregator and share it into the timeline. You could choose even what timeline you want to send it to.
Come on.
It's so easy. You could see a video and share it with your friends. You could even direct message it to them. So it's just with it all in one platform for you who's trying to build a kingdom and reach to more people. It makes it easier for you to do that.
Well, and I will also say one of the things that you were saying is that you wanted to be doers. I just felt like, CloutHub is a place not for bench warmers. It's time for people who are in the game.
Yeah. I mean, we've had some people come over and say, well, there's not too many people are liking. And it's like, well, that's not our crowd. Mm-hmm. We're not about likes. We're about, let's take action. I mean, you come in and see our timelines. We have 3 of them, not one like Twitter. We have 3 timelines.
Right.
And they're busy. Every couple seconds somebody's posting, but then you go to the groups and actually there's people active in those groups posting, and so we have people doing things in our platform, and by the way, let me say a thing, because it's an issue we're experiencing right now. For those of you who join groups and are getting email notifications. That is an issue we're addressing now and trying to solve. But there is a setting in the groups. You have settings in the groups under your avatar. When you go to your avatar in the group, or in the whole groups function, and you right click on it, it brings up a settings option, and one of the settings options is email notifications, and you can turn them off completely, or you can say I want to get notifications once a week. But right now, the notifications in there is a problem. It's happening every time somebody posts, and we realize that's a problem, and we'll address that.
Somebody was just asking, is it user friendly? And I'm going to say yes, very, very much so.
And that's a comment we get all the time, is that people do feel it's user friendly. It's very simple to use. It's simple to sign up. It takes about 3 minutes to sign up. We don't ask for all kinds of data. We only ask, like I said, 3 things: your name, email address, and phone number. And then you're in, and it's very simple to use and to jump from, you can be in the town square one moment, hit the newsroom the next moment, just by pushing one button, and it's as if you're in a completely different app. Mm-hmm. And you're reading the news. And then you can go to groups and do a search for groups or participate in the groups, or you can go to channels and browse through the channels, or you can go to video gallery and look through the most recent videos. So it's very, we try to, and listen, nothing's perfect. If people have ideas to make it better, we're all ears. It's your platform, not ours. We're just here to help make it.
I'm excited. I am super, super excited to have a channel. I'm going to put it back up. There you go. Touched by Prayer with me on channel 131, which is very prophetic, to be quite honest. I was very excited about that number. I was like, hey, 131, that's a good number. But I'm more excited to see the groups, and because there have been things I've wanted to do that I couldn't necessarily do, because sometimes with the groups, especially on some of the certain platforms, it's like, how many groups do you want to be involved in? I mean, gosh, everybody's always sending you group notifications. Become a part of this group. This place with CloutHub, the groups are there. You get to choose. Like, what are you looking for? And I'm sure that at one point it's going to be broken down into political,
yes,
spiritual. And so that way, somebody who doesn't know what group to find, they can start looking into it. So that's going to be just another place for people to get together and to communicate, because that's what I really love. Like I said, I found my family. I really found my family on Facebook. And from that family, my family has grown, but from people who've watched Touched by Prayer, who have followed me and started to interact with me. So I think what you're doing about having that social aspect is so, so important, because that's what everybody is looking for. People are looking to connect, because especially during this time of the pandemic, it was very hard for people to interact with people in a
Right.
one-on-one basis. So they had to go through social media.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we're really excited to have you on our platform and have you with the channel. And if if other people who are listening have friends that are on YouTube that would like to consider coming over to CloutHub, or groups in Facebook, and even just bringing over your friends, telling your friends about CloutHub, we would really appreciate it. We're looking to grow it and serve more people. And
Now, I do also have another question. The one
yeah.
thing that has been fun, like on Periscope and also on Facebook, you're able to do little videos. Is there going to be a feature where you can actually make videos?
So there is a feature already on CloutHub where you can do a short video. It's not live, but it's almost instantaneous.
Okay.
When you go into the post, there's a little video icon there, and it's with push of one button, it opens your camera. You could take video, and then release it to a post. And we are looking at adding watch parties
Mm-hmm.
to CloutHub so that you could share, and that's something we could add to the channels too, so people can watch your channel not individually at home, but in a group, even though they're geographically dispersed. So we're looking at different ways. Bringing live streaming to CloutHub is very high priority to us. And so we are looking at ways to allow all the members to do that. Right now, Periscope's a very sophisticated software. If anybody knows if somebody's got something like that in their pocket and they're looking for a platform to share it in, we would love to find ourselves a Periscope.
Come on. That's it. It's time to join the CloutHub Train, because that's what I keep thinking. Because the thing about you can't stop a train. You can't stop a train. And I really believe that what you're doing, Jeff, that this is just going to continue to grow, and it's going to continue to thrive, and it's going to continue to expand and to reach and to touch and to influence people and give them a freedom that they never thought possible, because on the other social platforms, they were squashed and silenced and censored. But there is a freedom that you're giving people, and it really is beautiful, because as we said in the beginning when we started, every single voice is important, and it's going to take it. We're coming into a season as believers. We're coming into a season where, we have a great harvest, and we're going to need a lot of people, and every voice. Our voices matter in politics. Our voices matter in our government. Our voices matter in our schools. Our voices matter in our churches. Our voices matter, period. And so if this is a place where everybody can have a voice without having to,
Yeah. And that's a good point.
And buy likes. You don't have to buy likes.
Yeah. And that's a good point too. So I'm a person of faith. I go to Rick Warren's church here.
Right.
Very lucky. I teach or lead a small group, and faith on Facebook and Twitter is being suppressed, and whether it's a Christian faith, Jewish faith, or any other faith, CloutHub is a place that welcomes people of faith to share their faith, to build the kingdom. And we welcome, any of your listeners who belong to churches. We welcome them to bring their groups to CloutHub. Like I said earlier, the Fellowship of Christian Athletes is coming. We have Every Man Ministry is on CloutHub, your program, and we have discussions going with some very major pastors across the United States about bringing their programs to CloutHub. And we feel that there needs to be a place where people can, on YouTube, they made it so you can't even use the word Christian as a keyword, right? And censoring, Lila Rose on Pinterest is considered porn. I mean, how ridiculous is that? and she's constantly being taken down. For those who don't know, Lila Rose is a pro-life advocate, and she's constantly being taken down off of Facebook and having her posts, marked up. And but CloutHub is a place where people of faith, regardless of what faith, all faiths matter.
Well, I'm going to put that up right there because let me
There
tell
you
you
go.
something. If that doesn't speak, nothing does. Look at that. That is such a powerful, powerful picture.
Yeah,
That is a very powerful picture. But that is the truth of where we are right now.
it
That
is.
is where we are. And
It
we will not be silenced because guess what? God has given you this idea and has given you the tools to open up and release the voices. And isn't it interesting, Jeff, that because this came out in 2020, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so in
Well,
2020,
it started in 2019, but
but you launched it in 2020, right?
we had parts of it available and being used, but the groups, the video channels, some of them more came out in 2020.
Because in 2020, this is the year of the mouth. In 2020, it was the Jewish holiday, the Jewish New Year was the year of the mouth. And one of the things that got censored was our mouths.
Yeah.
But not necessarily, because if you look deeper and if you look into different places, there are different places where our mouths and our sounds are going to rise up. And I truly believe that CloutHub is one of those places.
Well, thank you.
You're very welcome. You were awesome. You did an awesome, awesome job. And thank you so much for giving me a platform and giving all these other incredible people a platform. And thank you for taking on the big three. Because that is, you are seriously a David against those Goliaths. But guess what? With a stone, you're going to pull them all down. Just saying.
Well, CloutHub's a tool that every household can use.
There you go.
They're ultimately Instagram will be, it was being, people are leaving Instagram for TikTok, right? And then there'll be something else that'll come along, and those are all kind of faddish, right?
Mm-hmm.
But CloutHub is a tool, that people can use to communicate and protect their families, protect their lives, protect their communities and their freedoms. So we think ultimately every household will want to have a CloutHub in it.
I think so. And I'm definitely sharing. So if you guys are interested in finding out information, Jeff, where can they go and how can they sign up to CloutHub? It's pretty easy, right? Yeah,
it is easy. So if you go to www.clouthub.com, in the top right corner, there is a button that says login. If you click on that, then if you don't have an account, it'll ask you to create an account. And you also, though, will see icons to download it if you want to download to your phones. So we're available for Apple phones, Android phones. You can use it on an iPad or tablet. It's just not optimized for the landscape mode. And you can certainly use it on a desktop or web version. So
www.clouthub.com. How simple is that? Yes.
Sounds great. Well, thank you for allowing me to share CloutHub with your audience. It's a great audience.
And thank you so much. And so if you guys are interested in going and finding out more information and signing up, you can go to clouthub.com. You can also do something great, and that is you can share. If you are going to CloutHub, sharing is caring. So tell your friends. Why go to something alone? It's always more fun to bring people, right? Yeah, I'm always about a party. So bring your friends. Tell your friends on Twitter, hey, I know of a great place. Tell your people on Instagram, hey, guess what? I found another place. Tell your friends on Facebook. Tell them that there is a place where you have freedom of expression, and let them tell two friends and they'll tell two friends and so on and so on. And we're going to start getting the message that our voices won't be silenced anymore.
There you go.
There you go. So thank you so much, Jeff. Thank you for coming on Touch by Prayer. This has been so much fun. I'm going to just kind of remove you from the stream for a second. So thank you guys for listening. Thank you for coming on to my first CloutHub channel 131 broadcast. This has been kind of crazy, but we got it. We got through it. We are going to have so much fun. Next week, I have Antonio Sabato Jr. Oh, Heck yeah, I do. I am super excited to have him come on Touch by Prayer to share his story, to talk about what he's doing, because he is actually building. I'm telling you, there are all these people who are rising up and they're doing new things, and he's actually building a studio in Florida for wholesome family kind of entertainment. So I'm super, super excited about that. I'm so excited. Check out my CloutHub channel 131, because I'm actually putting up old shows. You can find Praying Medic. I have Greg Harvey coming. I have Julie Lavender coming. You never know who's going to be coming. Maybe I could even get Brendan Dilley. Maybe he'll even think about coming on Touch by Prayer. We can always ask, right? So I just wanted to say thank you guys for coming on. Thank you so much for spending an hour with me. And just remember to go out and touch someone. Good night.